The first question I have there just is when did you decide to forgive the soldier that shot you with a rubber bullet?
Well, I suppose I didn't really decide to forgive him in a sense. I kind of think I've always kind of forgiven him, and I never really had that much anger that I remember. And I would say that all come from my parents, and that because they didn't express any anger or anything like that there. But it was much later in life then that that maybe around 2000 or 2001 that I kind of when I began to realize that what I was experiencing was forgiveness. Like I didn't really see my story in the context of forgiveness, or I didn't think that I was, what I was experiencing was forgiveness. But it was only really later on in 2001 that I began to realize, look, what I'm actually experiencing is forgiveness, and I do forgive the soldier. So it was more about realizing what I was experiencing as opposed to sort of making a decision to forgive.
Oh, I definitely and just after that is was it living in Northern Ireland and your personal experience that made you start your charity, or was do you think you always would have went into that line of work, or what?
No, no, definitely. I think that my experience of being shot and blinded, and you know, and probably more importantly, the response to being, by people to me being shot and blinded was the influence and factors around me starting Children in Crossfire, because well, it's kind of my young adult years, my 20s, and that I began to realise, how lucky I actually was. When when you think the way life could have been, you think the way it could have went, and I began to look at why that was, and a lot of it had to do. There's a number of reasons for it, but one of the significant reasons was the fact that I was able to go back to school, get an education for myself, even as a 10-year-old boy, despite the challenges and the poverty and the troubles that existed in Northern Ireland in those days. I was still able to go back and get an education for myself. So I kind of realised that, no matter how difficult things might seem or how challenging, every child, given the right opportunity in life, can potentially grow and blossom. So it was pretty much that influenced me to start Children in Crossfire, and then I kind of felt, look, I was in the receiving end of so much kindness, so much generosity throughout my whole life, really, and I thought, well, you know, um, I just wanted to give some of it back, and I would always say, if there's children in Africa that they receive an education or having access to food or water, it's not because of me or not even because of Children in Crossfire. It's because of those people in my life. Really, it showed me what real kindness was.
I definitely and just see on that matter, would you say sort of that you feel more grateful that it didn't go as bad as it could, rather than angry that it happened at all?
I think I do feel grateful that of I'm very lucky. The family I had, the community I come from, the opportunities I had in life, and the lack of anger in my life, and the presence of forgiveness and all that. I'm very, very lucky, really. They have all that around me, and that's why I was, like when you look at a 10-year-old boy blind at 10 years of age overnight, and living in reasonably challenging conditions in the middle of a war zone and all that, and you kind of you ask yourself, well, how is it that a child is able to bounce back from that? And it's because of a number of factors, as family, community, opportunity, and all that. So I do consider myself very lucky, really.
No,
And there's a lot of good things about blindness as well. And when you realise that, then it's important you embrace those things. Like obviously, I prefer to have my eyesight back. I'd rather be able to see, but at the same time, I've had an amazing journey in life because of blindness, and so I can't separate the good things in my life from blindness itself.
I definitely and just further on that is I was looking to understand just What thoughts do you have on the fact that there's been reports that rubber bullets have been used again in America during the Black Lives Matter protests, or even at the Shankill there recently, during the protests over the weekend? Do you have any thoughts
Well,
on that?
I mean, there's a falsehood if they think that rubber bullets and plastic bullets are not lethal weapons. They're not a riot control weapon. They are a lethal weapon. And, they really have got to seriously rethink that. Now, it's up to the authorities and the military and everything else to find ways that they can deal with situations like that there, without having to use these rubber bullets and plastic bullets. Because at the end of the day, they're trying to say that it's an appropriate response to what's happening, but it's not. They're lethal weapons, and I mean, I'll live in proof that they're a lethal weapon. There's other people like Julie Livingstone of Belfast, Stephen McConaughey in Derry, who were killed, children killed by rubber bullets. Emma Groves in Belfast, a mother of 10, was blinded by a rubber bullet as well back in the 70s. So, it's a falsehood to suggest that they're not lethal weapons. They are, and I don't think they should use them at all.
That's just what my next one was going to be. Do you think they should be discontinued? So definitely, yes. Another thing I've seen recently is that it was in the Pat Finucane Centre have released that the British government have locked all records on rubber bullet files for another 50 years, and everything in Northern Ireland they do with them will be locked until 2071, which has brought one person, Julie Livingston's mother, I believe it was, came out and said anyone who ever knew her will be dead before they come out. She was killed by a rubber bullet. I was just looking to know, do you believe that they're doing that just to cover up anything they do with any of the soldiers that served here that might have used them or anything like that?
Of course they are. I mean, that's what's happening. You don't do that for the good of the public. You're doing that to protect the government and protect the. I mean, it's disgraceful that that the, like a Julie Livingstone's family are not given access to all records. I mean, it's just there's no justification for that. I mean, that just is rubbing salt into the wounds. Like it's hurtful beyond words. It's an injustice that on top of an injustice. Like I can't find words strong enough to describe that. I mean, clearly there's something in those records that they don't want the general public to see, and they don't want the families of the bereaved and injured to see. And I mean, I have records of stuff. It was actually the Pat Finucane Centre uncovered it as well, but I have records of stuff in my case. And I mean, it's clear and that was shared between the Ministry of Defence and their lawyers that were representing them in my case, that they knew that these weapons were lethal when they put them on the streets of Northern Ireland. So they knew it. They openly admit it in the letters. And in one of the statements in the letters, they say, under no circumstances should Murr's solicitors, meaning Murr being me, should Murr solicitors see this evidence. So, like, what does that tell you? I mean, of course they're trying to hide it, and it's just shameful, to be honest. And, if they're looking for true peace and reconciliation, and they really want people to move on, then they've got to stop playing those games.
No, 100%. I definitely. And my next one is just, how did your life change, or how did you cope after going blind personally?
Well, I mean, when you lose your sight, everything changes and changes forever. In the sense that, your whole trajectory, of the way you're going, has to change. And it's a matter, I mean, I've accepted blindness. I'm happy as a blind person. But, that's because of, that's down to my life and my own personality. For many people that might not be the case. But, the person I am, the work that I do, the life that I've had has all been dictated by that incident. When you do have to adjust, you do have to change direction. You do have to think about what you're going to do with your life. It's not like I can just decide to be a bricklayer or a driving instructor or, an electrician. Like you're sitting there now. I'm assuming you're fully able-bodied, Connor, and you can decide to be whatever you want to be, and you can be an academic, you can be a taxi driver, you can be a bus driver, you can be a brain surgeon, whatever you want to be. All of that is open to you. There's nothing in your makeup that would stop you from doing that. It's just your choice. And whereas for me, there is limitations. You could head out tonight and play a game of tennis. You could head out and play a game of football. So your social life changes as well. And every stage of your life, you'll meet things that present a challenge, and it's down to your own ability to deal with that. So every aspect and every element of your life has to be, let's say, qualified when it comes to then trying to live a reasonably normal life because of your blindness. Now, I don't let that get me down. I don't let it be a problem. I navigate around problems. I accept the fact there are things in my life that I'm never going to be able to do. I accept the fact that, blindness is always going to throw up a challenge at some stage. But that doesn't mean it's all right. It doesn't mean it's right to be like that. And so it does change your life forever. If I wanted to be like my brothers were shirt cutters, they were electricians, they were plumbers, they were butchers. That's the whole trajectory of my brothers all before me. But I didn't do any of that because I had to think of I had to look a different direction in life, so it does change things. Now, I mean, I'm very happy with what I've done. And I'm very happy with the life I've had and the career I've taken and all that sort of stuff. And you do have opportunities, even as a blind person. The world doesn't end. It doesn't. Because you can't do certain things doesn't mean that you should give up or you should be down about it. You acknowledge the fact that that's the way life is, but at the same time, you just make the decisions and get on with it.
No, definitely. I think that's everything I've got. Unless you have anything final, Richard. But thank you very much for doing that.
No, I'm happy. No, sure. If you think anything else afterwards, give me a ring, Connor. There's no problem. You have my number now, sure.
Thank you very much. I really, really appreciate that.
Not at all. My pleasure. Hey.
Have a great day. Thank you very much.
Andrew, right, Connor. Bye.
Bye.